Dozens of people were sitting on the terrace of Café La Crème. Laughter, chatter, scooters passing by. And then suddenly, rattling gunfire. In just a few seconds, the whole atmosphere turned into pure panic. A young student, Hamza Chabi, collapsed to the ground. 2 others were seriously injured. But here's the bizarre part. He wasn't even the target. No, those bullets were meant for one man, Mustafa Elfestali. In the Netherlands, people knew him as Moes No Limit, a nightlife entrepreneur from Zoetermeer who was much more than just a club owner. Moes had enemies, big ones, and according to the police, none other than Ridouan Taghi was behind the attack. In this video, you'll hear exactly who Moes was, how he went from Zoetermeer to Marrakech, how he got caught up in that war, and how one mistaken hit completely turned his life upside down. Moes wasn't just another name in town. In Zoetermeer, almost everyone knew him from his club, No Limit. Later, that became Club 1, a place where people partied all night long. To outsiders, he seemed like a clever businessman, but those who looked closer knew better. This went far beyond drinks and music. There was serious money involved, and people soon whispered that it wasn't clean money. His nickname, Moes No Limit, didn't come from nowhere. He lived large, expensive cars, luxury villas, and connections that reached far beyond Zoetermeer. People in the neighborhood knew Moes was playing at a level most guys couldn't even imagine. While he was in the spotlight in the Netherlands with his clubs, he also started gaining ground in Morocco. In Marrakech, he invested in the hospitality scene, including the popular Café La Crème. For most people, it was just a trendy cafe, but for his enemies, it was the perfect stage to take him down. At the same time, the Mocro War was escalating, a battle between groups making billions from cocaine routes coming from South America. In that war, there were no rules. Assassinations, mistaken hits, and bombings were an everyday thing, and right in the middle of it all stood Moes, a bar owner who, according to the authorities, was no longer just a bar owner. His name started popping up in more and more investigations. His clubs were shot at, and his enemies were multiplying. Once Ridouan Taghi had him in his sights, it was unlikely Moes would make it out unscathed. He grew up in Zoetermeer, a city known for its quiet suburbs, but also a place where shady deals weren't hard to find if you knew where to look. He stood out early, charming, confident, always hustling to make money. He had that energy of someone who knew how to open doors, and those doors were often clubs and bars. His first big move was Club No Limit, to the public, just a popular nightlife spot. Young people from Zoetermeer and surrounding cities packed it every weekend. But soon, dark clouds gathered. There were fights, incidents with weapons, even shootings. The city council received complaints and started keeping a close eye on the club. Later, he renamed it Club 1, but even there, peace never returned. In March 2018, the front of the club was riddled with bullets from an automatic weapon. Hundreds of shell casings were found on the street. It was a clear message. Moes had enemies who didn't just talk, they fired. For the authorities, it was proof that the club was no longer safe. Soon after, Club 1 was permanently shut down. People in the neighborhood whispered it was all funded with criminal money. Crime journalist Paul Vugts wrote that Moes clubs were financed by Underworld capital. It was never proven in court, but the rumors persisted. And honestly, judging by the cars parked out front and the amount of money flowing through the place, it didn't sound too far-fetched. What Moes did smartly was present himself as a businessman. To the outside world, he had the image of a hard-working man who built his success honestly. But behind the scenes, investigators believed he was building a network that reached all the way to Morocco. That combination, businessman on the surface, underworld player underneath, made him interesting and dangerous. Because once you play that game, you don't just get money and status. You also get enemies who'd rather see you dead than alive. For Moes, the Netherlands was just a springboard. His eyes were set on Morocco. And there, in Marrakech, he would make the biggest move of his life. and also his biggest mistake. After the chaos surrounding his clubs in Zoetermeer, Moes knew one thing for sure. He had to think bigger. The Netherlands had become too small for his ambitions, so he looked to Morocco, a country where many Dutch underworld figures had their roots, and where millions in criminal money were invested in real estate and nightlife. In Marrakech, Moes took his next step. He invested in several ventures, but the most famous was, without a doubt, Café La Crème. This was no ordinary coffee shop. It sat in an upscale district full of tourists, expats, and wealthy Moroccans. The vibe was luxury, the design sleek, the prices high. La Crème was a place where money flowed, where deals were made, and where the right connections met. For Moes, it was the perfect business card, a venue that showed he had made it. But La Crème wasn't just a cafe. To police and prosecutors, it symbolized the close ties between hospitality and organized crime. Because while tables were filled with cappuccinos and cocktails behind the scenes, huge sums of drug money were said to be laundered. Journalistic sources in Morocco later reported that villas, apartments, and even car fleets were registered in Moes' name. Authorities grew suspicious. How could a man from Zoetermeer afford so many millions? It became clear he was living larger in Morocco than ever before. Luxury cars, villas, a lifestyle with no room for modesty. He had the image of a man who was untouchable, someone who played on two continents and feared no one. But that same image made him a target. The Mocro War was becoming bloodier by the day. Cocaine shipments from South America generated billions, and rival groups in the Netherlands and Morocco were fighting for control. It was a war with no mercy, and Moes was no longer just a bar owner. According to several sources, he was deeply involved in the drug trade and had his own smuggling lines. That made him a threat to Ridouan Taghi's organization. Taghi was known as the man who tolerated no competition. Anyone making money in his world without permission would pay the price. Moes might have thought Marrakech was his safe haven, a place where he could build in peace. But in reality, he had placed himself in the center of the storm. And in November 2017, he would learn just how deadly that storm could be. November 2nd, 2017. It was a Thursday evening in Marrakech. On the terrace of Café La Crème, dozens of people were eating, drinking, and enjoying the warm night. No one saw what was coming. Around 8:30 p.m., two men rode up on a scooter, both masked, both armed with automatic pistols. They stopped at the entrance, got off, and started shooting without warning. Bullets shattered windows and tore through tables and chairs. Pure chaos. Guests ducked under tables, people screamed and ran. Amid the chaos, one man was hit. 26-year-old student Hamza Chabi. He studied medicine and had absolutely nothing to do with the criminal world. Within seconds, he was dead on the ground. Two others were seriously injured. The shocking part, Hamza wasn't the target. The bullets were meant for Moes. He often sat in his own cafe, and according to police, the gunmen were sent to kill him that night. But due to a fatal mistake, they shot the wrong person. It became one of the most infamous mistaken killings of the Mocro War. The two shooters tried to flee but made mistakes. They were quickly arrested. Both were Dutch nationals, Chardon S. and Edwin R.M. For Moroccan police, this was a bombshell. Dutch hitmen carrying out an attack on Moroccan soil. It showed just how international the Mocro War had become. According to multiple sources, Ridouan Taghi was behind the hit. He wanted Moes eliminated because he saw him as a rival in the cocaine trade. Taghi was known for being ruthless. Anyone who stood in his way would be taken out. The murder of Hamza hit both Morocco and the Netherlands like a shockwave. For Hamza's family, it was a never-ending nightmare. Their son, smart, ambitious, completely innocent, killed because criminals made a deadly mistake. For Moes, it meant he could no longer pretend to be just a businessman. His name was now internationally recognized as a target in the Mocro War, and Moroccan authorities suddenly saw how deeply the underworld had infiltrated their own society. The mistaken killing changed everything, not just for Hamza's family, but for Moes and for the entire Dutch-Moroccan Underworld war. After the shooting in Marrakech, a long and brutal trial began. Moroccan authorities didn't just go after the shooters, but everyone they believed was involved. Moes himself was arrested, along with his brother Mohammed F. In July 2019, the verdict came down. The two Dutch gunmen were sentenced to death. Moes received 15 years in prison, his brother 8 years, and even Ridouan Taghi, Ridouan's brother, got 10 years. It was a clear message from the Moroccan state. These kinds of assassinations would be punished severely, but it didn't stop there. Moroccan customs and tax authorities went after Moes' money. They seized villas, apartments, and luxury cars. Journalists reported that entire fleets, Porsche, Ferrari, Range Rover, disappeared. According to Moroccan customs, the total claim against Moes reached 27 million euros. Broader investigations mentioned as much as 40 million euros, that the state wanted to recover from Dutch criminals. To the outside world, it was now obvious that Moes wasn't just a cafe owner. He was, according to authorities, a player at the highest level of the international drug trade. And his conviction, along with the massive financial losses, made him officially a fallen man. Still, his name kept circulating in the underworld, because 15 years in a Moroccan prison is no small sentence. But in a world ruled by money and power, you never know if someone is truly gone. As long as Ridouan Taghi's rivalry loomed in the background, Moes remained a name surrounded by questions. The name Moes No Limit has since come to represent everything that made the Mocro War so horrifying. Luxury clubs, fast cars, millions in drug money, but also bullets, mistaken killings, and broken families. His story shows just how thin the line is between success and destruction. He wanted to go bigger, from Zoetermeer to Marrakech, from clubs to villas. But that success attracted the wrong kind of attention. And when Ridouan Taghi saw him as a rival, it was only a matter of time before violence followed. The mistaken killing at La Crème cost an innocent student his life, and put Moes directly in the spotlight of law enforcement. 15 years in prison, millions lost, and forever tied to one of the darkest chapters in the Dutch underworld. This was the story of Moes No Limit,